Qapla!
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Hiroga. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to kiss your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. Important news are needed new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. Japanese. You're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before. Orsin's tall words proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird O' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird O' Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Wednesday for September 15th, 2021. Welcome to Season 6 of Deep Space Nine. This is Season 6, Episode 1, A Time to Stand, and thank you, John Araki, for the $1 super chat you threw in during the opening credits. It is greatly appreciated. So we've been through 5 full seasons of Deep Space Nine now. We have started the 6th season, and after this, there is yet only one precious full season remaining. We are well past the halfway point here, people. It's something. It is something. Mike Richards was first in the chat earlier this morning, and Richie Poole was second, and Josh Street said he was the first non-Karogan. I don't believe Richie Poole identifies as Karogan. I'm not sure about Mike Richards. Richie Poole says all non-Karogan should be banned. Well, maybe he does. Never mind. I changed that. Never mind. John Street says, remember, if you say at Bird O' Prey 5 10 times fast in front of an IBM 100, then Sassy will free you from the Karogan orphan mines. And John Street also says all Karogans should trade places with the orphan miners. And we demand DS9 Thursday be co-hosted by Richie Poole to be moved to DS9 Wednesday. There is no DS9 Thursday. So you just want Richie Poole to co-host DS9 Wednesday? John Street also says, Richie Poole, I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's Bird O' Prey 5's father's summer camp roommate. Okay. Richie Poole says he co-hosts every Bird O' Prey live stream. You just can't hear or see him. And he tells Josh Street, I thought you seemed familiar. I just couldn't place you. Josh Reed says, we want a Mamo Prey story. And I don't think you get one today. There is one on Captain Trek's stream this morning. So if you go listen to Captain Trek's Morning Brew, Mamo Prey told the story of when Dado Prey tried to adopt a cat. Now, I could have sworn she's told that story on my channel before, but no one else remembered it. So if you don't remember it, the Morning Brew with Captain Trek this morning, you listen, you'll hear a Mamo Prey tale. Dan Ben and Richie Poole gives a thumbs up. Josh Reed says, when is Bird of Prey taking over the channel? Oh, Bird of Prey 6 taking over the channel. Not Ryan Johnson says, hello in Qapla. Hail, Karoga. And still not first. 47 Yorktown says, I need a nap. Why won't they let me have a nap? I'm sorry, 47 Yorktown. Josh Reed says, not Ryan Johnson. Karoga surrendered. No, I did not surrender. Jedi Bill says, hello, Bird of Prey. Qapla, Brother Warrior. Hail, Karoga. Hail, Jedi Bill. Number one Sci-Fi says, Bird of Prey, does anything really resonate with you anymore? You know, number one Sci-Fi, it's very hard for me to find anything that resonates with me these days. Josh Reed says, Jedi Bill, it's true. For October, you're going to be streaming bad before 90s vampire movies all month long. I don't know. Richie Bull says, Bird of Prey resonates with Crystal Skull. He can't get enough of it. Super Blubberpuss is in the house saying, hello, guys. And he says, Bird of Prey, Qapla, hope you and Neil Prey, our family, are doing well. Thank you, Super Blubberpuss. Mamo Prey, yeah.
Comment on my one and only dream.
Oh, Mamo Prey thanks you, Super Blubberpuss, for the comment on her one and only stream. Josh Street says, Richie Poole, didn't Bird of Prey say he would watch or stream Crystal Skull every Tuesday night in October for you? I certainly did not. John Araki says, Bird is going to have to grapple mentally with replacing Crystal Skull with the new Indiana Jones movie. John Street says, anyone remember the Monster movie? And has a link. John Araki says, the Skull will no longer have top billing. And says, greetings to everyone. And John Araki says, Josh Street, Bird kicked Salty in the nards. I don't think I did, but I wouldn't not if I could. Josh Reed says, remember, if you want to watch along with Bird of Prey 5 as a stream or episode movie over the Bird of Prey screening room, head over to the Bird of Prey 5 screening room at www.birdofprey5.com/SR. Yes. So we're watching season 6, episode 1, A Time to Stand in HD today. If you have access to the Bird of Prey 5 screening room on a desktop computer, open it in another tab or another browser. On a mobile device, use just a different mobile device and go to birdofprey5.com/SR, and you can watch this episode in glorious 960p HD. Otherwise, if you watch it if you're watching this later, you can watch your own copy on DVD or on Paramount Plus, on Netflix, on Hulu, or Amazon Prime Video. Although it will soon be leaving, I believe, Netflix. And Josh, he says, remember to put Bird of Prey 5 in the comment So Berto Prey will read your comment. That is true. Mike Richards says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. John Araki says, sheer top is greater than Dear Bop. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Number one sci-fi says, are you going to do a stream on what you left behind? Yes, number one. When we get to the end of Deep Space Nine, the next week will be a stream of the documentary, What You Left Behind. Arabic Sonder says, Qapla, Qapla, Arabic Sonder. Yvette says, good evening, Daddy, and everyone suffering with insomnia. Qapla, Yvette. John Aragi says, you've got mail. Well, we don't do Dear Bop or mail on this stream. Dee Dee Myers says, Bird of Prey, Qapla, how are you and the family? We're doing okay. Nicole says, Bird of Prey, 7 of 9. Not that I'm aware of. Doesn't exist yet. Star Trek Nitpickers says, Bird of Prey. Maybe people don't remember the cat story because it was Schrodinger's cat. It only half existed. It's possible. The Random Menace is greetings from the future. Greetings, future man. Number one sci-fi says, isn't 1080p HD, not 960? Well, anything over 720p is HD. Number one sci-fi, so 960p is HD. Nicole says, push the button. John Araki says, hashtag cancel Baxter. Mike Richards says, greetings to Random Menace. Josh Reed puts in another link to the screening room. And Nicole is lolling at yet, saying yet. But with that, let's head over to the screening room and get started watching this episode. So I will count down from 5. And if you're in the screening room, you'll be able to watch and hear it, maximize it so you can see it in HD. If you're watching in YouTube, you'll get a screenshot every 10 seconds or so on the view screen. PCAT says, hi, Bird. Hope all is well. Welcome, PCAT. And number one sci-fi says, pew, 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 Noonian Singh. God damn it. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Load. We have successfully loaded. In memory of Brandon Tarkatoff. Oh man, I was going to look up who that was. More Jem'Hadar ships come through the wormhole every week. We're going to mine the wormhole, prevent the Dominion from bringing reinforcements in. Wayun says, remove the mines or we'll take the station from you and remove them ourselves. All weapons fire at will. This is last week on Deep Space Nine. Last time. This was 3 months earlier. Ducat had been waiting for this mine for 5 years. They lost main power to the shields. It's very responsible having a cadet in there in time of war. What are your orders? All the remaining Starfleet personnel evacuating the station. And now Worf isn't going with Dax. We may never see each other again, she says. Of course, then she tells Dax, she tells Worf she will marry him. Number one sci-fi says Brandon Takatoff Was the head of NBC. Oh, thank you, number one sci-fi. Super Blubberpuss is bird of prey. Tell Mama pray. I used to smoke Marlboro Reds also. When my mom died from smoking, I quit immediately. Aw. She's sorry to hear that. So long-range scanner showed no sign of Jem'Hadar ships. 3 months has gone by and they've got nothing to show for it. Engage, retreat, engage, retreat. Chief O'Brien wishes he get to see their backsides. Nog says, shouldn't we have heard something from the 7th Fleet? She said, now it'll be a day or two before they get a transmission. Says, do you think they can stop the Dominion? And O'Brien says, they have to. Someone has to. And Garak is there. He was starting to give up hope. He had hoped that all those lunches would have entitled him to preferential treatment. He's like, he's got people in a lot worse shape than Garak. Garak says, if you're trying to cheer me up, it's working. He had a sudden violent encounter with a bulkhead. He's sure his head will heal, but he wouldn't bet on anyone living to a ripe old age. He says, you used your genetically enhanced brain to calculate our chances for survival. He says, ever since you've been public knowledge, used every opportunity to show off. He said, might as well use what he has. What are our chances of surviving? Over 50%? 32.7%. He's certain of the figure, yes. 32.7. Is genetically engineered indeed. It's acting like you having a cure in the world. It's exactly the type of smug attitude that makes people like you unpopular. He said 32.7% chance of survival. That's insulting. Bashir says it's strictly mathematics. And he's like, you're not genetically engineered. You're a Vulcan. He says, if I'm a Vulcan, how do you explain my boyish charm? And he says, not so boyish anymore. And Worf and Martok come in. Jadzia jumps right in Worf's arms. It's like, tell her. He's like, you can wait. Martok says, no, it cannot. It's been weighing heavily on his mind. It's like, what's wrong, Worf? It's about their wedding. She's like, you're getting cold feet. You studied the sacrifice of the Targ, the schedule after the sacrifice. She's like, we haven't seen each other for 5 weeks. It's the first thing you say to me. We agreed on a traditional ceremony. She's like, fine. First we'll shed blood, then we'll feast. As it should be. He says he's been unable to talk about anything for days. And Sisko says, take it from me, old man, a small wedding's the way to go. And Dax says, you get married the way you want. She'll get married the way she wants. Martok's going to take care of an arm problem. He says, Klingons make great warriors, but terrible doctors. He says, Captain, we've been ordered to report to Starbase 375 for reassignment. something else. He has news of the 7th Fleet. Go on, says Sisko. Only 14 ships made it back. 14 out of 112. He says we can't keep taking these losses, not if we expect to win. He says, thank you, Doctor. That'll be all. And Bashir looks at Martok, says he'll take a look at that arm now. How did he know the arm was the problem? Jedi Bill says, hello, everyone. Please check out my channel. And I hope you might subscribe. And puts in a link. Josh reaches Bird of Prey. Brandon Donald Takoff was chairman of Paramount Pictures from 91 to 92. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. 14 out of 112 ships does sound like a handful, Josh Street. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Josh Reed says, is Bird of Prey singing or using the Jolojo machine? And number one sci-fi says, yes, it's the last season of Jadzia Dax. Indeed. So Ducat is saying the war continues to go well. It's only a matter of time before the Federation collapses and Earth becomes another conquered planet under Dominion rule. It's a good time for Cardassia and the Dominion. This is the Major is just giving her the most wonderful news, giving him the most wonderful news. Bajorans are returning to the station. Wayun. Shops are reopening. The promenade is abuzz. The promenade has happy children. And Damar's doubled security. And he says, such precautions really necessary. Ducat says you can't be too cautious when dealing with Bajorans. She's like, what's the matter, Ducat? You're afraid we're going to take the station away from you again? And Wayun says, come on, no need for bickering. We're with friends. He said, of course, if you have any suggestions, bring it to us. And Kira says, we want the station's Bajoran security force to be reinstated and their weapons given back to them. Ducat says it doesn't need to. They can deal with it. And she said the Federation did it. They shared it with they shared security with the Federation. She thought that they were going to have the same agreement. Ducat says the order stands. Wayun may trust the Bajorans, but Ducat does not. until they earn his trust. He prefers to keep them unarmed. And if you were in his position, Major, you'd do exactly the same thing. So Wayun says, maybe we'll let this rest for a while. I'm sure in time we'll be able to get this all to mutual satisfaction. But one last thing, Odo. Is he aware that he's doing everything he can to strengthen the bond between the Bajoran and the Dominion? She says, why don't you ask him yourself? And Wayun says, no, he can't. We don't want to bother him. Good day, Major. Welcome, LDG. Ducat says she's a fascinating woman. Wayun says he wouldn't know, but you need her as an ally. Damar says the Bajorans will never be an ally. Wayun tells Damar to leave, and he says, don't look at him, I'm telling you to leave now. And Damar looks at Ducat, and Ducat dismisses him, and Ducat says he finds Damar useful. Says in the future it would be prudent to include him in all decisions regarding station policy. So 2 months ago, he said they'd be able to dismantle the minefield within a month, and it's been 2 more months. He says these aren't ordinary mines. Every time we destroy one, its neighbor replicates a new one. He says we have to take down the minefield and reopen the wormhole, says Wayun. Ducat says, then we will. There's no reason for panic. We're winning the war for the moment. And he says, yes, for now. But we're going to need resupplies of Ketracel White soon. He says he will deal with the minefield, and he will. Ducat. Cardassians playing Dabo. Why are Jem'Hadar in quarks? They're there, they don't eat, they don't drink, and they don't gamble. So why are they there? Quark wishes he had a photo they could hang on their wall. He's trying to get them to learn Dabo. They're not interested. Oh, a complimentary hour in one of their state-of-the-art holosuites. Now, perhaps another time. Kira is saying Ducat has only one thing on his mind, revenge. He can't stand that Bajor defeated them. And Odo says they think they want to reopen the labor camps. And Kira says eventually. Says, well, it's fortunate then Wayun is looking over his shoulder. Kira says maybe. He says she doesn't really trust him. Odo says Wayun knows it's in their best interest to show that they honor their treaty with Bajor. He says Wayun seemed very concerned of what Odo thinks of him, and Odo goes out of his way to try not to think of him. She's like, that's going to piss him off. I'll have to remember to tell him it. Odo says, it's good that you can still laugh. She says, only with Odo. the fact that Ducat's in the captain's office, that the Federation is losing the war. Odo says nothing we can really do but buy time. It's like Sisko said, Bajor must be kept out of the fighting. She's like, who is she to argue with the emissary? Quark is given a drink on the house. He wants peace, love, and understanding, and a generous profit margin. He says, occupations go. This one's not so bad. Kira says, I suppose it's true if you're only worried about your monthly balance sheet. Quark says, look around. Do you see any ghetto fences or Bajoran slave laborers working in the ore processing? Do you hear the cries of starving children? He says, no, and don't get me wrong, he misses the Federation, Quark. But things could be a lot worse, says Quark. Odo hates to say it, but he's right. The Dominion seems determined to prove they can be a friend to Bajor. Here says, if they're such good friends, why are there no Bajoran security officers on the station? Admiral Ross. Sisko says, we lost a lot of good people. Admiral Ross says we're going to lose a lot more before this war is over. So he says, I hope you find this office appealing. He's like, what are you talking about? Willis? He's like, yeah, as of this moment, you are no longer in command of the Defiant. He didn't say why he was relieved of command. But he'll be getting his new assignment at 1600 hours. What does he plan on doing next couple of hours? She's saying now would be a good time to contact his dad. Said, Benjamin, you haven't spoken to him in months. And Jake is his grandson. And Sisko's like, how do I explain? I got every Federation citizen off DS9 except his grandson. He says, you do. Joseph Sisko's like, you did what? He's like, it's not as bad as it sounds, Dad. He's like, so you didn't leave my son there? He's like, well, then it's certainly as bad as it sounds. So he's like, so now you're going to blame Jake. He says, Jake's not a child anymore. He's responsible for his own actions. Sisko wants him back too. Grandfather asks, you think he's okay? Sisko promises he'll bring him back. He doesn't know when. It might be a while. He's about to be given new orders. And he's like, tell him you want to go get your son. He's like, it's wartime. I go where I'm sent. And he asks how the restaurant's doing. He says, 3 weeks since he's poisoned anyone. He says, it really as bad as the news service claims. And he says, it might be worse. He says, you know how to comfort an old man. And he says, well, because you always tell me space is so big, endless frontier with endless wonders. So there should be more than enough room to allow people to leave each other alone. And Sisko says it just doesn't work that way. It should, but it doesn't. Wesley Crusher says, hello, world. It's Wesley Crusher. And Wesley says, not staying around, sorry. Things to do and orphans to whip back to work. Jake Sisko says, oh, Mr. Wayoon. He's like, oh, that's the type of detail people want to know. Would this be a good time for the interview we talked about? He said, that'd be quite impossible. He's read his previous articles, and he's come to one inescapable conclusion. He's biased against the Dominion. He says, you keep referring to us as the station's occupying force. He's like, what's wrong with that? It has a negative connotation. All of your stuff has been filmed with, Beth. And so that's why he hasn't sent any of his reports. And Jake is like, what about freedom of the press? And Wayoon was like, please don't be so naive. And he says, the only reason I stayed here was to report on the occupation. He says, there you go again. This is not an occupation. It's a Cardassian station. He says, there's a Dominion troops on Bajor. We have a treaty with them. Jake apologizes. He says, if you're going to have to provide a more balanced perspective. He's like, Jake says he won't write Dominion propaganda. He doesn't need him to. Can we do the interviews? Asked Jake. All in good time, says Wayoon. Jake keeps writing, he'll keep reading. He'll leave it at that. So all Jake's past stories have been thrown out. Starfleet has discovered their main storage facility for Ketracel White. They're going to destroy it in the Alpha Quadrant. Might be the only way to end the war. Just how are we going to infiltrate the Dominion without a cloaking device? He says, you're not going to need the Defiant or a cloaking device. He's got a better chance. It's the Jem'Hadar ship they captured last year. Dax is saying guidance matrix. She's checking all the systems on the ship. Sensor feed. Chief is saying the reactor core is good. Induction stabilizers, phaser coils. Nog is checking resonance emitters. Signal subprocessors, all checked. He thinks. Speaking of checks, at 8:02 p.m. tonight, guys, there's a SpaceX rocket going up with an all-civilian crew on board. So keep an eye out for that if you're into such things. Nog wants to know why they couldn't install some chairs on the bridge. He said because this ship wasn't designed for chairs. And Nog says his feet weren't designed to stand all the time. If you haven't noticed, there's no single food replicator anywhere on the ship. She says, there's also no view screen. Who built a ship without a window? Says Dax. Bashir says the same people who build the ship without a infirmary. He says, if trouble breaks out, it's not a sandwich or a chair or a view screen. It's a sandwich. You're gonna want what Bashir has. Garak has been invited to come along as well, since they're going into Cardassian territory. They're cleared for departure. Take us out, old man. Sisko says, turn us about. Set a course for the Cardassian border. Warp 6, says Sisko. So Major Kira comes to Dukat, says, you wanted to see me? Dukat says, I always want to see you. He's like, it's been 3 months. He never gets a chance to see you. Only never get to see him beyond station business. And Dukat says, Major, I haven't dismissed you yet. She said, what do you want from me, Dukat? He's like, come now, Major. Have the last 3 months been that bad? It's like, is that why I'm here, to flatter you? Tell you what a good job you're doing? The sarcasm doesn't become her. She's got better things to do than to help Dukat play out one of his fantasies. Dukat says, you feel I betrayed you. He says, not just me, everyone, even your own people. He's trying to justify why he had to do what he did. He says his people lost their way. He made them strong again. She says, but what price? He sold Cardassia to Dominion. He says, look what we're getting in return. The Alpha Quadrant itself. Kira says, we'll see. Dukat says he can make things very pleasant for her. And Kira says you could do something by doing something about his breath. Aww. So Kira says, it really so deluded. You think we're going to have some kind of intimate relationship? Kakat says, "Good day, Major." He's got work to do. Josh Street says, "No window and no med bay. Sounds like a ship made by Birdo Prey 5. So these headsets seem to be compatible with Cardassian physiology. So he's volunteering. Garak says if he wore one, then the captain wouldn't have to wear one, at least not all the time. Garak says it's like having your own personal view screen inside your brain. And it's the USS Centaur coming in on them. The Centaur is still with them. Dropping out of warp, preparing to return fire. Just target the weapons away. Avoid their engines. The Centaur is going into warp. Uh-oh. 3 Jem'Hadar ships got through the garage. Somehow. Says get our comm systems back online. Return to course at warp 7. Now Kira is pissed. Kira says, go to Ayun. He'll listen to you. As far as Wayun's concerned, Odo's a god. He's given some power. What's the good of using that power if you're not going to use it? I'm listening. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So Odo just walked up to Wayun and said, "Yo, give me my Bajoran security staff back." And Wayun's like, "Done." He's like, "Yeah, and they're gonna go to the armory within an hour." And Ducat's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Done." And then Wayun's like, "Well, now maybe you could do something for me." He's like, "So Odo is joining the ruling council of the station." But really, I mean, Odo now has basically 2 votes. Anything Odo votes for, Wayun will vote for. So, of course, they're not going to let it work like that, but so is. Anyway, back on the stolen ship, Garak has asked for 86 canisters of Ketracel White. It takes about 3 minutes to. They set an explosive for 3 minutes. Nog says, "I hope whoever's down there didn't take a lunch break." They just beamed 84 canisters of white directly into their hull. They've acknowledged receipt. They're getting ready to leave. Uh-oh. The security net just came on. They just raised the security net. Repeat the request for clearance. They're not responding. And Bashir says if they don't shut down the net before the bomb goes off, they don't have a chance. Yeah, but at least they've done their mission. They're responding. They're ordering them to stand by. They don't know why. Springtime says Bird of Prey. Remember that the first all-civilian crew orbital mission, Inspiration 4, is only 3 hours away. You can watch on SpaceX YouTube channel. Yes, Springtime. I reminded people a little earlier. So Sisko says, we just got to be moving fast enough so that they don't smash into the net the moment it goes off, but not too fast that they hit it before it goes down. Bashir does the math in the head along with the Dax, turning over piloting controls of main computer. 22 seconds until the explosion. But Brian says, see, nothing to worry about. And the explosion happens. Oh, it went off early. Says, Dax, get us out of here. And they got hit by debris. Oh no, the entire cast of DS9 is gonna die. Oh. No. Yeah, it's not according to plan, but Garak is sure Starfleet will be pleased with the results. The deflectors are down, guidance system is shot, and the core matrix is fried. No warp drive. And Garak says that without warp drive, how long is it going to take us to reach the closest Federation starbase? A long time, says Sisko. 17 years, 2 months, and 3 days. Give or take an hour, says Bashir. Martin Devon says, Qapla, just seen the one where they are taken to attack the Tzinski by changing on a TV through the garbage, through the garage. I don't know what that is. No. Springtime is Bird of Prey. Remember the all-civilian SpaceX crew tonight. Martin says, why are these SpaceX people doing things when there are Federation starships around? Well, they're civilians. They're not Starfleet. They are not Starfleet. So this is it. Season 6 has begun. The Dominion War. It's going to be, I think that's at least 6 episodes. At the beginning of this season is just one long arc. So stay tuned. A week from now, next week, is Rocks and Shoals. Rocks and Shoals is one of the most powerful episodes of Deep Space Nine ever, and it really, really effed me up. It still does. And there's going to be a video one day just about this episode. I was waiting till we got to it before doing this video. But it's a video we need to talk about because there's a big, big problem with Rocks and Shoals. And it has to do with the Vedic and her actions in the upcoming episode next week. So be prepared to watch, and we'll talk about it during the episode, but then I will talk about it more in a separate video because, man, it's a tough one. You are welcome, D.D. Myers. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for enjoying and hanging out. Thank you for pressing like. Thank you for any comments you might leave. And with that, I will say bird out, and I will maybe see you guys tomorrow, or maybe not, depending on if we're getting a new hospital bed. Hopefully it's all done early, and I'll let you guys know. But at this point, I really have no idea. Oh, wait. Tomorrow, excuse me, no, will not be a live stream tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a review of Lower Decks. Lower Decks review tomorrow. My bad. So I don't know what time it'll be ready, but I will be doing a review of Lower Decks. That's what you can look forward to for tomorrow. Qapla all, bird and panel out. There's no panel. Just me out. Just me out. Oh, and guys, please, if you can, we are still raising money for Rambling Canuck. The link to his GoFundMe is in the video description. If you can give $1, $5, any amount, please go to the link in the description and send some money to Rambling Canuck to help with his medical bills. If you can't, please do share it at least. It'd be really appreciated. Okay. Qapla. But wait, there's more. The video might be over, but there's more fun to be had. First, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have clicked that bell icon to get notifications of new videos in your YouTube feed. Share this video on social media to help this channel fight the algorithm that favors big media. Also check out www.birdopray5.com for links to my other channels, various social media accounts, merch store, Dear Bop, affiliate links, and all your Bird O' Prey 5 needs. At the main Bird O' Prey 5 YouTube channel, you can find all sorts of live streams and unlisted videos, YouTube membership options, and a community section with polls and updates on the channel. On the secondary channel, Bird O' Prey 5X, you can find overflow content that doesn't always make the main channel. Subscribe to both channels, please. Thanks for watching. Remember, I stream almost every day. This is Bird O' Prey 5 saying goodbye, world. Until next time. P.S. Hail Sassy, hail Charlie, and of course, hail Kuroga.